This was Friday of April 24th, because I'm doing this kind of late today. So, in that morning, I left late and I was unable to eat breakfast or cook lunch because I spent the hour like editing videos and I did not realize that that would actually end up wasting a lot of my hour. So, I showered at light speed since my mom was telling me to absolutely hurry up. I brushed and I got ready as my mom got me and asked me to hurry up. She almost put up a temper tantrum even though I was early. And my mom did use threats, of course, that I would end up walking to school instead. When I got to school, unironically, Spanish class wasn't open for 2 minutes because two teachers were speaking to each other for a little bit. So we came in technically later, and that invalidates everything that my mom was telling me, like to hurry up and stuff. So I finished an imperfect tense test on the Chromebook, which I haven't done in a while because my teacher usually has Regis sounds on AI. Teacher unironically said that we cannot use GIFs or pictures in our presentation, so I'll have to remove a few images on my presentation, but that makes it easier because I don't have to add credits or anything like that. I spent rest of the time looking, but Google takes long to upload a bunch of pictures, so I just emailed. Later on for PE, I prepared and changed out, but at roll call, nothing really much happened. We ran one lap max in 5 minutes, and I did a challenge as I ran that I would bounce a tennis ball 150 times. Later on, as I saw Kalisa and her friend talking to the teacher, she made up a fake defense yesterday that her friend wasn't actually running, it was an AI person, and her friend complained about it. And also, her other friend complained that they got sent to detention because they did something in another class, and the teacher just said that it was their fault, but I don't know the context, though. As for later on, I looked around for people to talk to. Some were there, but I saw some that were mostly closed off. So I just walked around. But one asked me to play tennis band, but I didn't play with them because the tennis ball that I was holding was one that one of their people got wrongfully angry at yesterday. So I'm not throwing it because I call that tennis ball history at that point. Later on for science, we had a test plus another primary paper assignment that I had to turn in here. The teacher said that I can do the quiz that I missed Monday and also clarified the project iterations that we have to do. And that has to be in bullet points. The test was fairly easy, but the thing is that I never really study at all. And I got a 53 out of 60. And I learned about the windward and leeward sides about mountains. The girl near me got a 25 out of 60, and I felt sad earlier because one of the boys in the class, as I heard as they were leaving, they had a parent talk with their counselor regarding online school, and the non-English speaker really helped with their test because she isn't as fluent. So the teacher had a lot of assistance. Later on, I did fix my presentation for conciseness. I just feel sad for these people, bro. Like they just got called in the middle of a conference, and I lied to others and I said that I also got a 25 out of 60 at the end. And I realized that I'm a subconscious baseline in the classroom is that if I pass a test, the rest of the class will think that they can also pass. But if they think that the test is hard, then if I get like a 40 out of 100, then they're going to say that the test is really hard too. And a girl said to me as I was working on the presentation, "Do you remember when you made these comments during the quiz?" And I said, like, yes, 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 yes. And she said that to me, but I don't remember actually saying, like, yes, yes, yes during the quiz because I don't remember. She told me, like, remember when you said that during the quiz? For history, this time we are getting ready for a project and preparing our things, the mic, tape, a few other things. I felt scared, but I know that nobody really cares that much, to be honest. And I traced a grading rubric, and later on considered applying to peer counseling or Jesus Club, but that day I did forget to actually go to peer counseling and ask if they have applications. The teacher announced for the first half that we will be writing down things and finishing up for our presentation, but our presentation is a news report, and unlike other presentations, we're justified in having a script, thankfully. Challenge is that we can't read off of it all the time, so but is that instead of reading off the scripts, I improvise and I use direct topics such as like emphasis to say it in front of everyone and then go on to further talk about it. And I found it interesting because I didn't talk off of the script. I only used certain keywords and improvised it in front of the class. Anyways, the next group was Apollo 11, so they did it using terrible humor, and it was terrible as one could imagine. And I tried to speak a few whispers to make it more funnier, but a funny thing that group 4 was that they were on here for X amount of months, and the other one said like, yeah, longer than a relationship, ha ha ha. I mean, they also used the news report like we did, but a little bit more sophisticated. But another group used a two-player chess game, which I found really interesting, plus a narrator simulating a chess championship 1972. It's very unique because you have two people that are posing as contestants that happened during the championship, plus you have a narrator speaking in front of everyone. Group 6 was funny because later on they genuinely did not know how to improvise, so they just kept using like one-word answers. And like the interviewee said, like, "I'll interview King Von later," so the class kept laughing. They talked about the hockey miracle here, and what I say in that they kept hesitating is that this is a type of improvisation where it's funny at the same time because they genuinely don't know what they're saying. So it's what really makes it like worth watching. Later on, I did kept one of the drawings that we used in the presentation, so I might put that on my Instagram post. For lunch, this time I ate yogurt, and this time I went up to the library to Rand's group to play an Uno game. The girls wanted us to vote today. There was like two girls who were walking around. We had a funny conversation with them. They said that they voted and they apparently worked for Jude, but Rayon apparently went for Sarah, I believe, so he voted for her. And I had not to ask them for other things since I don't want it to be misinterpreted as performative since I'm in a boyfriend group right now. Usually in boyfriend groups, there's a lot of things. Usually, if it was just me like alone, I would have had like a longer conversation. But when I boy a group here that's playing Uno, I didn't want to hold down a conversation for too long. But I do kind of regret it because I should have actually like tried to talk, maybe hold on something. But anyways, though, as for the Uno game, I traded a red skip with a yellow skip and with another kid, and they all laughed too much to be honest. And we probably were the loudest in the library. They also cheated too presumptuously and very humorously at the same time. So even when someone said Uno, they kept just unnaturally humorously kept going to leave it like that. Today for English, I bet 20 cents that students would be late, and there were 3,000 that we're late today. And she obviously made the 20 cents joke to the people who were late. She closed the door the minute the bell rang, and it was funny. Today, the would you rather question was ice cream sandwiches or donut sandwiches. Where the teacher's silent criticism today was that some of the students got penalized, yet it was under special conditions for other classes, I believe. I'm not sure really what it was. So late did come in late today, and later on I asked the teacher about absences. And an interesting thing that I also heard about is that the first period had about 875 absences total today. Third had 912 absences, citing that there are many different causes, obviously, but there are a lot of students that are literally absent. And what made this interesting is that there's a graduating class today of 835 people. I thought there's like 2,000 people here. Later on during the essay, as we're preparing to finish it, the teacher used Jackson as a scapegoat humorous way, like saying like, no laughing, no talking, no writing your names hard on your paper, no writing it down. The teacher says, even then accidentally, the teacher says that the assistant green papers away and that we didn't have them, so she made her apologize in front of the class, and they all said sorry. But her mood, what made this really humorous, is that changed in front of everyone all of a sudden after finding it in a drawer in her classroom. So it was quiet most of the time when I did finish up an essay, as I said. Now, for period 5, if I asked the teacher like why she isn't wearing shoes, and she usually wears like slippers, and she looked at me with like a funny stare, and she says like, yes, I am. These are technically shoes. I said slippers, but she said like funny question because these are technically sandals. The teacher again was questioned by another student who said like why pre-calc, AP pre-calc and calc classes exist. He said that only calc and pre-calc should exist, and that he meant to say that there should not be an AP class for an AP pre-calc class, just pre-calc, then calc, and then maybe AP calculus. But he confused the terms together, so the class ended up laughing. And in math, though, we did learn about SOHCAHTOA and trigonometry basics. She also mentioned the lesson online where someone got fired for posing as a Native American and saying it in front of the class, and then they got fired. We learned about opposites, adjacents, and hypotenuses, and I remember that Kian Peel mentioned about high on pot news right there. Later on, a few minutes later, the biggest challenge is that even though I was able to understand this, is that these three things can change depending on what we're looking for. Obviously, the hypotenuse will always stay the same, but sometimes the adjacent and the opposite ends can actually switch at the same time. So that is one that I really need to get over on. And we also said that we might also be looking for reciprocals at the same time. And later on, though, I was able to finish off the assignment, but I did a little bit struggle with it since it's the very beginning. What was funny later is that the fifth guy paid attention again, and the teacher said like, "Oh my God, now he's showing off." And the fifth guy said it publicly, so obviously. And later on during dismissal, I prepared and I got ready for the next sports game that I'll attend. For the next Dodgers game that I visited yesterday, and when I got to the stadium here, it was mostly full of people. As I say, there's like a lot of people here, and there were plenty of cars as we parked and moved forward. And I forgot to put sunscreen on, so my protection wasn't as adequate when I had to apply before I got outside. As for the time before the game, it wasn't as traffic, so my mom wanted to get food and wanted to shop, which was a good idea here. I wanted to talk to random people, but there wasn't as many here, so this time I just walked for most of my free time before the game, and I wanted to walk to one person on the other side and have like a short conversation with them, but I hesitated and I tried to go yet to another person who also seemed to be standing nearby, but I wasn't able to talk to both of them since they ended up like moving away. Think of a stadium like social plate tectonics, as I say, but the people move very, very rapidly, so I wasn't able to finish my goal of like talking to random people. But anyways, most of the environment was social, loud, and great. As for the game itself, in the pregame there was like a dating announcement that if you're single or are on a date, make some noise. And a man with his group of other men said that and put his hands up into the air. They all had a laugh together, and I found that interesting because rarely do I ever see that happen. And in the American anthem, someone used a tuba, and I sensed that they made a lot of mistakes while using and trying to repeat the American anthem on the tuba. But what I noticed is that they remixed it and made it into something better. I found it very smart because it highlights that most of the game was great and it was like baseball, but like this time here, he made his mistakes into a remix. So I found that interesting. The highlight for most of the game is that Will Smith made a home run and a few other. I found that really interesting too. Bergman Alex also threw a ball our way, but eventually it bounced off our decks, falling elsewhere. I found it entertaining. A peculiar movement that I did find around 8:53 p.m. yesterday is that the little banner that was announced for birthdays said like Emma Wishnoff, will you be my girlfriend? That was one of the craziest things that I've heard on like the little announcements on the public screen. And just leaving that out there. 9 to 10 p.m. I did complain to my mom that she wouldn't bring us home before everyone left because she wanted to apparently see the drone show. And Bergman and the others did hit a few home runs here and there. But as I do say, the drone show was great, hosted by General Mills, and it showed a lot of the MLB slogans, symbols, and plates such as the MLB ring, trophies, and baseball, and another hat. I liked it because it showed a lot of plays, but I was way too tired to enjoy it fully. For the next baseball game event that I attended today is that we're going to cover a few short things before I cover that. And for the short morning period between 11 to 12 p.m., I decided that instead of staying at home, I should probably spend this time like talking to a bunch of random people, maybe going somewhere. So out of all the options that I had from playing volleyball, from doing some internet stuff, I decided to just take a short little walk and talk to a bunch of random people by taking a quick visit to the library. And one part of me didn't want to do this since I did feel a little bit tired. But my goal was just to head straight and decide like maybe it's worth it to talk to random people. I have not visited the library in a while, and I do have some people who I know there that I haven't visited in a while. So I did. It was hot, but I entered the public library and I was doing this while I finished up an important essay that I had. And time I had a conversation with like two people here. And to sum this up, in my view, I wasn't able to host a full conversation because I was busy working on my essay here. But I'm so proud in doing so anyway and taking the walk to the library. We made two more friends, so yay. Anyways, I did have to leave early, sadly, since I had to go to the Dodgers game. I didn't eat breakfast and I also overslept. So, as for today, that follows directly after yesterday's baseball game. When I went in, it was right before the game started, so sadly, was not able to go in and start random interactions with people because people are already moving to their seats. Social play tectonics here is extremely rapid, so of course, it's always going to be like that. And maybe for a few games, I won't be able to hold this. When we entered, we did get an exclusive rookie bobblehead this time, and it was pretty interesting because I was not expecting anything. But anyways, my mom did get 2 hot dogs and Diet Cokes as we spent the first half shopping and looking around real quick. Or she purchased me a sweater because I didn't bring my sweater then. And 2 days ago, she also brought me a new set of brown pants, so credit to her for that. And lots of people were also walking around, and it was like a very loud environment, obviously. My mom shouts because she also wanted to buy her other family clothes. Roki on his debut today made quite a few good shots, in my opinion, and Alex Bergman also made a few good hits, although he did get booed most of the time because of his 2017 and 2018 controversy. And a big lesson that I did learn about booing in the stadium here is that they called Alex Bergman a cheater, and in a typical setting, that would all cause a person to stop. But what I learned is that no matter if the audience calls one a cheater or labels him as bad or good as possible, like he still gotta make the pitch and like try to do it and try to do his job. And, like in real life, that translates to people in socially labeling others rather like doing this or that about other people. But the thing is that that everyday person still has to do the everyday life. Gotta work, you still gotta do this, and live not for the opposition, but for themselves. After most of the time from 4 to 6 p.m., the crowd was loud and vibrant. There were people enjoying the atmosphere, and a lot of people enjoying popcorn and betting a bunch of vendors nearby, and there was a lot of enjoyment going on. I noted that around 5:38 p.m., someone saved base directly at this time, and I found it surprising since I haven't seen these happen in quite a while. For one, at around 5:57 p.m., it happened again, but this time there was under review because someone had questioned if the base was kept or not. And then again, it was under review and it went fine, so the crowd went happy after. And in this game, and others I've been to in general, and what I found the most challenging is that during halftime, there was cap shuffle because there are 6 caps, and one of them has one item that you have to track in out of those 6 caps. You have to track the location of it. If you pick the wrong one, you don't get a reward. So that's a trivia challenge right there. This time, my mom left at around 7 p.m. compared to 8 p.m. since it was already raining and she had to get food. I ate some Yoshinoya, but I think that is enough fast food for this entire year.